Okay, hello. I should be here. What's up, Go Enthusiasts? Excellent. Everything is working, and we're here to watch round 5. Dohyup Kim Dohyup, versus Jeremy Chiu. Kim Dohyup has won against Yishan Zhao, Kenny Jin, Jasper Liu, and Michael Sato. We watched Yishan Zhao play in the California State Championship. Yeah, I've played against Kim Do-Yup twice, I think. I think both times I got scammed late in the game. No. The first time I got rolled, and then the second time I got scammed late in the game. But 0-2, I think, was my lifetime record against him. I don't think I've ever played against Jeremy, but oh no, I think Jeremy challenged me once when I was playing on stream. Yeah, I played against Jeremy one time at Fox 9 Dawn, I believe, and he rolled me. He completely destroyed me. That game was like one of the worst I've ever been beat. Anyway, they're both 4-0 in this tournament. 6-round tournament. This is round 5. So this is for the 5-0 heading into the final round. Very important game in the tournament. They played a normal opening. Black with the 3-4s, white with 1-4-4. Yeah, you can see that Kim Do-Yup is black and Jeremy Chiu is white. On the left side there, you can see their names, right? They have 30 minutes main time, both around the time that they started with. Obviously, it's Fisher, so you get a little bit of a time every move. Kim Do-Yup spending a little bit of time to think here. Kind of an interesting moment to pause. Just figuring out what he wants to do. There's all sorts of options, I suppose. Pausing here means he's trying to actually figure out what to do optimally in the beginning, which is kind of fun. I don't really try. Some suggestions. So we have pincer. You could obviously just take care. Also, you can play on the right side. That's possible. You could even approach here. A, B, C, D. Also, you can kick for an entirely different direction as well. This is just preference, to be honest. This is not at the level of play that we have here in the Western Hemisphere. This is not. None of these moves are going to lose you the game. This is not an important decision. Okay, he chose to play the Knight's move of Patience. The answer over there. That's okay. Knight's move and Kasumi are about the same. Knight's move is a bit faster. It makes it a bit more interesting for white to play on the left side as well. I'm not a big fan, I have to say. In this kind of board position, like, white now gets to play at A, and you don't want to pincer that, so you're basically just going to give up the left side most of the time. And I like the white 3 space back. Obviously, Jeremy is a good fighter, so he's very willing, very ready for black to come in. No qualms about this. Okay, we have black coming in right away. If it were me, I would not do that. No chance. If it's me, I'm going to put the black stone over here. I think this is a important spot for both players. It makes the game a lot more comfortable, a lot easier to play, in my opinion. When especially when you have this 2 space here. White's easy way to play against the 2 space is to lean on it, and then that leaning is very good if they play on the right side. This move is like great for both directions from the right side. But anyway, we have the invasion right away. Fight right away. Yeah, after that, white just took a 2-space base on the top side. That's very pleasant because it's aiming at coming into like A or B. These moves are annoying for black to face later. White isn't going to do them anytime now, but black gets the chance to finish off the top left white stone however he chooses. He chooses to diagonal away from it. So this is sort of baiting white to come in and actually try to save this left side. Black's saying, I'll be fine as long as I get 2 weak groups to attack. White is not interested in doing it right away, just wants to push, take his good shape first. That's very sensible too. This black cover here, so the reason why I wasn't really that intuitive to me here, although I agree that white's shape is locally better, the black cover is kind of like good direction that the white stone here got surrounded. It can't really run that way anymore. But it's not really good direction, it's just kind of like it. So here black can continue by connecting, that would be normal. And then the idea that black has should be something like, because I got really strong, you can't run out to the center. White can still save that cornerstone, as you saw, right? Like in that variation that I showed you, there's still a chance here for white to make a ko, and even to save directly. Is there a chance to put the numbers more to the right? I can try. It might mess some things up. Let's see. I don't think that helped very much. Am I still? I don't know, maybe it's slightly better, but maybe not. Not really. I can change the color of the grid coordinates. Aha. Perhaps dark blue? Is this gonna be nicer to look at? That wasn't really working, was it? No, I need oh no, that's good. I don't know. Bright pink? You want a pink? I'm not sure if I can do it. Is it working? It's working on my side, but I'm not sure it's showing up for the stream at the moment. Chat saying they don't like the white topside shape. I don't know if it's a big deal. White ended up playing that move on the right side, which I was fiending over. It is indeed nice. And then black played this bump first, which white just happily accepted, and then played on the left side here. So now, the reason why he bumped, by the way, is to prevent this stuff from being easy. So now it goes like this. Oops. Darn it. White is not very comfortable to live here. It's still possible, but this stuff is like much more easy to think about than in the other way. If you're black, the problem is once you bump, white isn't interested in invading right away anymore, as white shows. So white is still going to play on the outside and still going to put pressure on you. And the question is, how are we going to make A, B still a good exchange? That's not easy, because if you answer to this one, which is pretty tempting normally, some move like this, then A, B is obviously a very bad exchange. If we got very thick in the corner, then you would want to put more pressure on white, not force them to become stronger and more out as in the game. So this kind of move at 1 is not really acceptable. Although it would be quite good if black hadn't exchanged that bump. Because he has bumped, it's not really acceptable for him to answer. So he has to suffer some different ways now. The most direct way is now stopped, but that doesn't mean his all problems are all solved. It's just that the game is longer, right? So the game is going to go into his difficulty later in the game rather than directly. So for now, black is going to ignore, play away. Entirely sensible. Interesting, actually, to exchange directly this clamp. I guess it's okay. And he plays the small knight's move. Possible here, but I'm not sure I would choose small knight's move. I think I would have chosen large knight's move here. I really don't like giving my opponent this kind of very comfortable invasion. I imagine this is probably quite high priority for white, actually, to come in over here. Higher priority than you'd think. Anyway, white has the whole board open to him, so he doesn't have to do exactly that. He can also try the 3-3 over here if he's interested. There's some interesting things that can happen. A simple way it can go, black might try. So if black tries this way, then we're going to see something like this. And now white is alive in the corner. That's going to be really good for white because the bump is really bad now. Okay, so we have it. If black tries this way instead, then this way is somewhat common. After which you can often see cut and then an immediate descent. And now there's a 2-2 Tesuji, which is pretty exciting. If you don't do that, if you play something on the outside here, this cut is going to be really strong. So even though it might be possible for black to fight, in this case it's not even possible. Like black doesn't even have the ladder, so now it's not even possible. Even if it was possible, it'd be good for white to be coming back underneath. But that's not going to happen. So if it goes this way, and here we're going to see this 2-2 Tesuji. It's a good one to know if you don't know about it. The point is, if you turn, then I block like this, and then no matter which way you Atari, I extend, and I'm going to go try to chase you down and kill you in the corner directly. So it's, yeah, it's quite possible to do that kind of thing, and black's bump is actually kind of helping him here to even, he could fight on the outside. So it's possible that black does this, and when white does this, and goes here, this 2-2 does seem like it might be okay in this case. Okay, we're kind of coming to a similar variation here. Most of the time white likes to descend. Okay, but white chose not to. So white instead cross-cuts first. We have an entirely different kind of fight. So obviously black cannot play here and here because cut will kill black. That's not possible. So black's Atari here should already be broken, I think. It's going to be really hard for black to hold this together. So you can't Atari there. The only way would be if he connects and then plans on playing like this and sacrificing the 2 stones on the top side, which would not be very fun. When white captures those, white would be leading. It's possible to use, to use this Atari first. Then if here, then we Atari again. Probably not good. So I was thinking we go here now. You can capture and Probably net. It's possible. Black can try. If he wants to play like this, he could. Black may actually directly descend himself. That's kind of interesting. Again, we lead into the variations with 2-3. Another way is to try to play bump here. Looks weird, but gives you enough time to come back this way. So if white really does try to separate this part, we at least manage to capture those 2 stones quite cleanly. Probably a good result for white. I don't think you should do that. Yeah, I think this is the best way. I agree with Jeremy. Chat saying N3 is shining with negative aura. Very rude. Oh, Jeremy is white. That's right. Kim Dohyup is black. I agree with Kim Dohyup. I forgot who is white and black. My bad. Agree with Kim Dohyup. So he does it this way. So the idea now, if white comes back to capture like this, black may be able to net. And then if white really does push through and cut, you get yourself squeezed. Have to answer all the way. And there's some problems here, although it might not be that bad. If it works in the end, it works. It's actually kind of good for white. Is it a failure? Wait a second. Oh, it's a failure, actually. Maybe the cut is not really possible if white does it this way. So in that case, you'd have to play this one, which is really bad because white pushes here, you have to answer, and then white still cuts, and you can't squeeze at all. So that's not possible. It looks like white can play here. Am I missing something? I'm sure I'm missing a lot, actually, but... This looks very negative for black. I thought he was doing another variation. I'm surprised he actually went through all the way with this. What do I think he was doing? Hane and net. So if you Hane and you know, white captures, and then you net, then white pushes through and cuts. You can Atari, that's great, but white captured it. I don't think you can save those stones. Even though you could Dahane. I mean, you can do some stuff, some crazy stuff to try to save it, which pays a lot. But it looks like for the most part, Oops. Yeah, sorry. I'm looking for black stone there, white stone, black stone, white turn here. Looks like white captured. Black needs to play here, white plays here, and white has enough liberties. It's mostly a capture on the top side. White turned. Cowardice. Does not go down and allow the net. If he gets the answer, now he plays here and he's very satisfied. But obviously black wants to come back this way. White is looking at blocking here and allowing black to come back and eat those and thinking maybe the right side is enough. So he blocks and gets sente, but this, I mean, I don't think that's as good. I think we could have killed. White didn't want to capture small. This is something I learned from an American, that when you're attacking and you're tempted, you're like, should I go eat my chicken dinner? No, you want to eat your chicken bigger. Don't just eat chicken dinner, eat chicken bigger. Yeah. I vehemently disagree with this line of thinking. I think it's always silly, but it's always funny too. I don't want to win the game, I want to win the game bigger. No, in this case, obviously, White was thinking about the trading. He wasn't just thinking about like chicken. He must have thought that the other way wasn't that good. There might have been some ko that he saw that he thought was unsatisfying. Greed gives you more. You have to agree with being more greedy. Okay, so do you think it's more greedy for White to play at p5? Because obviously Black will accept the trade. I think this is less greedy. You get a chance and you ask for, no chance anymore. Actually, I'm good. No way. I take my chance. Take my lead. Black exchanges this Hane. I thought that was a bad exchange. I didn't look into it very precisely. Maybe Black thinks he's going to be able to connect here. This is a very complicated way to try to do it, because now when White Ataris, it's hard to chase the corner group. So like if you connect and you think, oh, I'm going to be totally fine here, I can Tanuki after that. Well, you're going to have a bad time after here and throw in, right? And here. And you'll notice it's hard to chase from the right side. You have to spend some backup move, and then White spends the backup move and we're dead. If you chase, then White would push through, right? So if 11 went there, then you could capture, but you'd die on the 2 stones. That would suck. So after Black Hane connect here, that does make it a bit better. The Hane connect on this side is a better way. What? Okay, Jeremy played a b3. That's his choice for how to try to save the corner. Very interesting. So he does not want to invest anything on the right side right away. How curious. He says, I could fix my cuts, but it's not going to be a big deal even if you go capture me somewhere there. Actually, the corner matters. He's prepping for e2 Tetsuji. So he thinks I could play here. So if I play here and you're going to cut me, then after that I should play a b3 to live. And if you don't cut me, so here Black wants to push. Now if White plays here and Black breaks, then I can cut like so, and I can connect. So like this and here. White will be largely connected to the right side. I mean, connected is an understatement. killing. So he's trying to make the left side threat bigger because he likes his right side threat. So he wants to see black play here, and then he can do this, and he gets more by capturing. At least that's the thought. But I'm actually not sure if it goes like this. You go here and you capture. Isn't white in big trouble if it goes all the way through like this because of the black outside thickness? So it looks like white still will suffer to this one. Maybe he wants to save on the left side. You can save like that. Or even rather than 8, it should be here, shouldn't it? Oops. That's a better life. I'm quite skeptical of the timing. It seemed like he had something good to do on the right side at that moment. And he skipped it in order to go to the left. It was important for white to play S2 first before blocking over here. That's a great point. So back here, when it looked like this, and then black played this Hane. Somehow, white ended up without much Aji in the corner. There was no very clear co's. White can only capture race the top side, which is not going to be easy. If white had turned here first, it would have been gorgeous. Because then if white sees black play the same way, white can get the Atari in first before blocking. Which is a big difference. A very, very big difference. And, yeah, if I get rid of it. So, oops. Yeah. If we then saw this one, and then we Hane, so now this reverts to the other variation which you're looking at, where there's still going to be some kind of problem. So after this one, when white Ataris, there's still a threat of S1, so you can decide that shape. It would be much better. That's very clever. I forgot that when black plays this kind of Hane, you don't have to answer. I think white forgot that too. By not answering directly, you could have decided the shape, made a better exchange. Probably white also wasn't really careful enough that when black plays here, it's totally fixed. Didn't realize that it was completely over after that. I mean, maybe he did know, but it's a very nice Tetsuji that you can use to stop that. Anyway, while I was talking, they exchanged those moves. So white playing the attach from the outside, trying to use some sort of Aji there. What he means is, I have some potential to live. I want to get the left side out of it. So he's trying somehow. Put some stones on the left side, make black answer. I think he's recognized, basically, that his idea of this one is very dangerous after 2. So he's trying to prepare, trying to find some way that that's going to work. It's really awkward. Hard to figure out a way that is going to work. His correct method should be something like this one, but it seems he's read a ladder, which would make which should make a difference, and he's trying to get a ladder breaker ready to be able to play at 1. You can see that these exchanges probably lost Aji for white. It was supposed to be clever and great and fun, but it turns out not to work very well because it wasn't the standard way. And because of that, like, white kind of regrets and wishes that he could have probed this first and still had a chance to play the 3-3 in the normal Aji making go for a go for a double, find the standard Aji where you can use A and B and all that stuff. Black just accepts. This is a very happy accept for black. He's super grateful to cover this a lot more. He gets a lot thicker for that. I'm not a fan of this one unless Jeremy can show me how it was 100% necessary right now for this variation, which I'm not sure I agree with. I'm kind of expecting black to do something that is not making a ladder right away. That is not really related to that. It does not seem remotely forced. So, okay, here, normal move is to answer, and they shoulder hit you, of course. You can not do it. You're not gonna die or anything, but I think in this case it would be correct to do so. Could be wrong, but it looks like it would be good because the invasion here is still painful, and I like getting thick in preparation for that kind of thing. It's also very big territorially. So I agree with Kim Dohyup. Game not looking too good for white indeed, but it can all swing back on the left side and the right side. There's the good things for black have kind of already happened, and now the good things for black have to be a lot more subtle for the most part, because the black territories have become very thick and defined. So it has to be that black is breaking the white areas more. Like either white has to do something irresponsible, or that black is going to just gain little bits, boundaries, and safety from now. Okay, so black gets a chance to figure out what to do over here. There are many choices. You could do something very, very thick. What that would do is try to tell the opponent 100% you're dead here. It's kind of unnecessary. Probably white is going to be dead there anyway. It's a little bit too much. So more tempting are moves like cut, Atari, push underneath. This kind of concept can link up, right? And then put pressure on white after that. So even though white can do some stuff, maybe you can endure it. Hana here, no? Cover underneath. Kind of interesting. It's a possible fighting. And another possible fighting is to play like this and here. And now, a lot of the time, after you make these kinds of cuts, it gets really severe. And you have a chance to do something great or terrible. It looks like here, if black plays... Oh, let me check. There. Yeah, I agree. This looks good. Black is going one step into that, and now Atari down. Yeah, looks like this is going to be good here in a couple lines, actually. But mostly, if black plays here, looks very good. Agree with Kim Dohyup. Should be the best. There's a little bit more potential to do stuff in the upper left now. For example, if white does this, before we wanted to kill it like that, yeah? Now white can push here. If black covers, that's going to be very, very risky now. So you see something like this, you don't like it. This is black suddenly getting in big trouble on the right side, and then also the Hane is coming, so black will die over there as well. So black is unlikely to be able to continue this by killing the white topside group if white tries to save it. b1 is not a killing move. So if white plays here, 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 b1 is not necessary. That's true. So we can come back and save it. Doesn't give the same kind of pressure outside. Turn here. There's still some chance for white to save it. White would normally like to play some very aggressive stuff here. This kind of thing, where you say, I'm going to net, I'm going to ladder. They really aren't working for white because you can't cover with this third line stone right here. The third line stone is just in your face, blocking you all the way. So it's hard for white to chase out from this when all the time it just gets caught immediately. And no matter what, you can't really use it for anything very direct. This is the kind of position I really struggle to play as white. Normally, when black does well in the immediate fighting after one of these hanes, like right now I think black found the correct choice, black is going to gain a couple points when you check the AI. But afterwards, if white knows what they're doing, they're not going to lose much more than that. Like the beginning, just deciding a fighting, you can just choose a different direction all the time. But choosing a different direction in this kind of situation where everything looks like it doesn't work, you can often end up headbutting into a wall, killing yourself, making your game a lot harder. So this is a great moment for Jeremy to spend some time thinking. He's down to 20 minutes on his clock. Kim Dohyup at 17 minutes. Seems like he's already given black the left side, basically. And it's just a question of what he's going to get back in the upper left, in the center. How can you recover? If you can get enough stones in general in a line here that group gets weak, it should be possible still to build a big box. That's what Jeremy is really hoping for in this game. The right side should be his target from now. It's going to be difficult to get the stones in a line there, but I think the right start is turn. He chooses this one. Now, Kim Do-yup may not choose to do the very aggressive choice, because that can also lead to the problem. So yeah, absolutely, this one is a more responsible move by Kim Do-yup in this situation, allowing white to capture this one stone. And then if black captures the stone in the corner, white is going to link up on the top side. Thanks for the raid. So this is as expected that black would want to capture that stone, but yeah, white can always link up under here. If black plays like this and here, at this point white can actually cut this way. It should be better. Now if black captures, then white would play here instead of Atariing. So this one is not really going to work. The cut is not really going to work anytime soon. So absolutely white can link up like this. If white chooses not to, so if white plays somewhere else, then this one will kill. So although white might spend a Sente move or something nearby, white is definitely going to play at G2. All right. And so this ends up being white's territory. This ends up being black's territory. White managed to reduce that top side and break into it. Basically, eventually that b3 ends up okay. But the problem is he made so many bad exchanges on the left side to make it threatening enough. The only reason why black didn't commit at g2 is because he was already like belly full, hungry, satisfied. You know what I'm talking about? When you eating a big meal and you don't have any room left to eat a very, very delicious looking cannoli. That's what black was feeling, so he just accepts that one to dodge the fight. Doesn't really mean that white won. And then finally he came back and plays here. Linking up. White just said, I accept. There's always room for more cheesecake, you say in the chat. Is cheesecake better than cannoli? Cannoli is my favorite dessert, guys. I think cannolis are the best. It's a shame they're so difficult to make. But if you could make cannolis, everyone would make cannolis. That's my genuine opinion. They're so good. So after White answered, Black was happy with the small territory gain, and he's thinking about what he wants to do. Still, I think there's an important cut over here. I don't understand why it wouldn't be great to just come in. Are they talking about this cover? Oh, this is not that unreasonable, actually, when I look at it. Maybe it's this way? So maybe Black needs to start with this cut to not get punished. And maybe against this cut, they're thinking it's not that great, but I don't really see why yet. Looks like you could cut here. Maybe White's plan is like this, and then as Black, you're very happy if you can go all the way through like that and just run. I think this would be a great way to continue the game as Black. Break all the right side. What is the time increment? I'm not sure. Fisher time, 15-second time increment, and 30-second main time. There we go. Thank you. Okay. Black chose to put more pressure on the left side group. Interesting to diagonal up. White goes and takes his forcing move in the upper right. That is indeed a forcing move. Black can answer here, so usually should. I don't see a great reason why you would not do that kind of answer and would go further inside, other than co-threats, which are a good reason. Co-threats are a great reason. Maybe you should come back and fill a Liberty. He's considering to fill a Liberty, yeah. Okay, maybe that's better. It's kind of interesting. What he's talking about is that there's a lot more thickness on the top side now because of that. Those stones cannot get targeted as hard. Which is true. So he lost some territory anyway, because White will be able to Atari here when he wants. But it's not very much territory to lose. You can still block there. It's just that we spent the stones inside directly. Really not much territory to lose at all. Kind of questionable that exchange is a good exchange for White. But maybe he was thinking that whatever he's going to do next, Black would clamp. And then he's trying to stop the clamp in Sente while he goes and does his next idea, wherever he's going to spend Gote from here. This diagonal move, by the way, is trying to build this area while putting pressure on that White. So White eventually decided to push. It's a unlikely good move. I don't think it's very good, is what I'm trying to say. It's unlikely to be the right thing. Sort of forcing Black to go out on top. In order to stop the Black push, which was not that much of a threat. I think if you didn't do this, and Black was the first one to play here, when you play at 2, that's already annoying enough that Black usually wants to answer. And then just running this way, I don't see any problem with the shape, even if we didn't play this stone connecting. So rather than play there, I'd much rather have played that White move faster, moving out on this side, rather than running out there. I don't really see the point of trying to push to get on top of that Black. when you wouldn't be able to. It wasn't really a thing. So basically, I think A B is a good exchange for black, but I don't really think A is a good move. In fact, if I played black, I would have played here for A rather than that. Now, if you get to push, it would be great. If white runs that way, at least this move is still a big endgame move, very big endgame move. So I see it much more reasonable that this would be Sente for black, and then black would look at a larger surround, larger scale surround like this, allow white to sit. This is much more sensible, where black is building more, and white doesn't get a chance to reduce that area in the same way as this one gave white a chance, and also a chance to reduce that area. Anyway, black is saying, I don't want to be bogged down. After he continues to run out like this, he would be a bit slow. It would be allowing um, this stuff to come later eventually. So you don't basically have very much pressure on the actual white group. So he chose to come in right away to invade the right side. I really don't understand why he chooses to do it like that instead of with the cut. It seems to me like the cut is far more annoying to white. If you cut here, and white answered like that, and you get to run out capturing those stones, that also is giving you a movement to reduce the right side. It's not like white is going to be very satisfied to just put a stone on the fourth line here. White would have wanted to build, and then you can play in, and it wouldn't be much worse than territory over here at all, but you get a huge bonus in the form of a capture. So to me, if you just cut first, it's a far more effective way to put pressure on white that you are building your own territory while you come in to reduce eventually, when that actually becomes important. At the moment, it's not really important. Although it's kind of nice as a benefit to get right away. But white might try to counterattack and then naturally cover the cuts. That's possible. White might also try this way. This can be kind of exciting, a little difficult. Can't white just sack with push push? So if you do this and white sacrifices like that, and then tries to build something very large, probably this is what black was afraid of. Um, I don't think you're supposed to be scared that the opponent gives you a lot to start with in order to defend that kind of thing. So at that moment, you can give more to the right side as well. This kind of move, if they just accept, I think black is leading. I don't think this is a hard game. Could be wrong. It's only like 6 points, 3 stones. But it's also the movement through here. And that movement you don't get if white gets to play another move. So when white is like covering here, the variations I'm showing, part of the reason why this is scary is because when white finishes it with another move around here, then it becomes another potential area. That's what I'm breaking when I play over here. At the moment, when you commit to this first, then you allow the opponent to lead you around the board a bit. I like cutting first as a way to be patient still. Don't set anything on fire. But I might be wrong. Could be that this is small area and this is big area right away. Okay, so white chose the Hane first here. He's saying I can get a big shape win in this part if you allow me to play again. I think black probably won't care very much about that. Because this is still a very compressed area, and black still has the left side territory. So territorially, it's not a big deal when white does that. If I were playing black, I would be happy to go and continue with another move on the right side here. Not sure what exactly. Maybe attach and extend up like that. But these moves tend to put pressure that this group can get weak, that group can get weak, and this does not put pressure on any groups over here. So black can eye a lot of counterattacks while he saves himself now. Those are the kinds of counterattacks white could have saved if he played first. I don't think it's really a great move to do as white has done here. Even if white plays here next, black could just eat it like that. There's no gain for white, not really. So black shows the diagonal. That's okay. It's a similar choice. Um, the concept of diagonal is typically that you get to play at A, and you have a lot stronger stuff to do when they play underneath around B. In this case, it looks like it might just be a bit slow. Not totally sure. White chooses to invade. Okay. So this is another reason why he can play that Hane over here, is it was preparing the invasion so that he could come up. I told you guys earlier, this is a lot better than it looks like. I like what he's doing to invade here. Seems like a good choice to keep pressure on those. At this point, you can't really put pressure on them by movement, so you have to put pressure on them globally. If black just runs, black may run into that. That's the goal. So mm, how should he do it? He chooses that way. Okay. So there was a threat over here, and then maybe a threat here. His idea might be, if white answers to that, and I do this, I might be able to cover. It's a little tough. There. It might work. It might work. If white runs out on this side, black's cut here looks quite strong. Although white has some forcing moves over here, it's hard to link them up to directly save this stone or capture some stones here. It should be possible, but it's tough. And tough means you're probably going to make some losing exchanges. However, it could totally end up being good. It's this kind of exciting, interesting moment. There. Hmm. You can imagine something like white plays here. Black tries to save very strongly to keep pressure on the left side. And then white Atari. This is normally quite bad because you give up a lot of stones. But it would cover these stones, and that's clearly worth it to capture these stones in exchange for those. So it's possible after this cut and here that black has a very hard time saving these, in which case the cut doesn't do that much. If it can't attack the two stones or the corner, if you can't even save the other cut, it's a little tough. So white might try something like jump here. Yeah, diagonal. Put the pressure on black that he really does dare to cut or something like that. So black isn't going to cut right away. He knows it's not that strong. He just runs. Hmm. So white's best direction is probably at A. If white can make a nice cover here, it wouldn't really matter that black links underneath. That would make white very, very, very strong here, which makes attacks on the right side much better. He chooses not to do it though. Chooses to run out this way. He's trying to force this black to figure out how to play around that peep, sort of give black trouble over it. It's possible. It's possible. Later, this black group, if white ever gets to play here, doesn't have a very clear base, but it should still be able to live. If you have to play like this, it would be sad, but it would be alive. So white surrounding and putting pressure on this black is meaningful, but it's not very meaningful. We're not going to be killing it ever, but we can put it under some pressure. What about cap? You want white to come back and cap here? It's possible in the future that this could happen and put pressure on the black group. At the moment, this is very weak, so we don't really want to force black to run that way. If you play here, then black will just run, and you have to spend some move answering. You'll notice that the cap didn't really do that much. You can't actually surround black very easily, while you have to answer to the right side. It's definitely something that they're thinking about, whether this group will get surrounded, because if there's a little bit more strength, then absolutely something like that can work. At the moment, it is black's move. Black may choose to play Tiger's Mouth on this side. Yeah, he does. And white chooses to triple Hane immediately. White is just daring black to cut. At this point, the cut is going to be very ineffective. But you might still want to do some kind of cut just to stop the Atari from being so painful. You really hate to see this Atari. So at the moment that he gets this cut, at least that Atari is not going to be forcing anymore. At least he can give up the other stone. I think that's part of what he's thinking about. And now when he runs through here, of course we cannot save the cutting stone. But it's better to have a half cut than no cut. Certainly this is not a pleasant shape. Certainly this is not a pleasant shape for black. Seems like maybe black attach will be good here. Wow, okay. That is something. He became really thick. Super thick because he's actually going to save the cutting stone over there. This is unexpected. That means that he really invests in the attack on these stones. I'm sure he doesn't want to give white any pressure here that could then come back to surround his group. That's important. And he's happy to be able to counterattack those, and maybe he can get pressure here that could save that group. It's important how that group is going to be able to run out. And I'm sure when he plays that connection, he must be thinking about some ideas that in the future he can play at A and B. In general, if he can come out this way, then he could put pressure there and there. Counterattack is necessary if you want to save yourself here. But the first move that he started with, this isn't counterattack at all. So I'm not a fan to start with. Okay, should be back. Hello guys. What's up everybody? Yes. All is well. Since you were gone, they made the ko over here. And then black played B for C as the ko threat. White played this one, D for E, as a ko threat. And then black played F for G as a ko threat. And now white has played Atari here as a ko threat. How interesting! That does take a liberty away from white. So it means white is intent on winning the ko. Very, very serious. Big escalation. Time to escalate for sure. White is thinking, hey, black, you don't have ko threat after this. So if white plays here. Sorry. If black had played here, then white would recapture, right? Or would white cut immediately? Maybe white would cut immediately and then recapture and win the ko on the spot. Oh my goodness, that was very scary. Because black... Okay. Yeah, that didn't happen. Black just connected here. Wimp move, lose the ko on this side. White win the ko directly. So if... Yeah, if white would have captured here, he would have needed another move. But here he exchanged and he just wins the ko on the spot. It is, yeah. So white won the ko immediately and didn't give black any of these outside moves, only that outside move, which is not very useful. There is still some importance to the coexisting for this side. So after black captures the two stones, there will be a threat to play at A, which would be very difficult for white to meet. In the meantime, black ran out through here. White has applied pressure on that connection. White is running out this group. We have an entirely new game. But this entirely new game features white taking back the left side for the most part. That does look like it's going to be white's territory here. The good news for black is that black has thickened condition of those 2 stones because of the white weakness here, and this group also not being that good. But I agree that, okay, earlier black may have had an advantage from this fighting. That should be gone now. And it's largely because when white invaded here, that was a lot more troublesome to black than maybe he expected. He had a hard time figuring out how to deal with that, particularly when he peeps, goes for the cut, and then white made the switch back and captured it all. That was huge. Absolutely huge. I'm going to say the first mistake that led to that was A here rather than at B. I think you should really respect that when your small knight gets approached like that, you can't live. When your large knight gets approached, you can make enough space that running out, it becomes more about saving. But black definitely did some strange stuff after getting approached. It became very difficult to play as black. It wasn't easy to find any natural moves. Now this white group has run out quite a long way. So far, in fact, that there's some threat at A. This whole black group could get surrounded. That would be troublesome. So black captures. Wait, Atari's, black captures. Now, there's an interesting thing happening. It looks like white might try to jump first, even though there is wedge here. So if it goes like this, then white would get obviously clattered. But you can try to win the ko through that, and if you do, this group can get surrounded. So this is not as stupid as it normally would be. Looks like because white has some weaknesses here, that would be black sente. It might not be a good idea though. Black will not cut Hane on the outside. So after this way, in capture, you want to Hane directly. So now you could capture this way, but if white doesn't play like that, and white plays here, you're still forced, eventually, to play for the ko. Because it's aggressive, you'd have to have a lot more ko threats, I think, as white. It doesn't really look good. I think white will give up eventually on this idea and churn back to handling the right side of the board. It's still annoying we never answered here, we never got thick, so if black runs that way, it's still going to be difficult all the time. But you would really like to run in general from this direction so that your group gets out, doesn't get pressured, can potentially surround that one. There's a lot of extra life and death resources. It matters a lot for this group's health whether that group gets surrounded, the black group, right? So you'd really like to play this direction, I think. I think this is a very comfortable direction. Problem is that black really likes to play this direction. But I think we have to allow it. And yeah, something, just accept. This might be the way the game goes. I don't think black has anything exciting to do over here. Black's best option to continue is probably this way to fight a very serious ko. But you don't want to do that too early, because even when you win the ko, it's not that big. Soon the players will be in very severe time trouble. They have 3 minutes to 5 minutes. 3 minutes for Kim Dohyup, 5 minutes for Jeremy Chiu. This shoulder hit from white means I don't want you to connect no matter what. It also is running out the white group, of course. Usually it's a bit early to make this strike before the black groups could even connect. Even if black played the next move, it wasn't easy to connect. So to cut first before black even could connect, normally that's wrong direction. Normally you want to wait and decide on whether you're going to cut later. Black plays here, puts a lot of pressure. Does white need to take care of those 3 stones? Right now, probably, right? We don't want to really die with them. Even if we cut through and make some kind of trade. Well, if these 2 stones die, it would be great, but they're unlikely to die. I think the covering chances are not very good for right here, and there's still a cut available all the time. Looks like black is going to be okay in this kind of variation. I'm not exactly sure, but I wouldn't say it's a slam dunk for white. So most of the time, white wants to run through this area. This black idea of peep at the cut, it can go wrong when the opponent naturally doesn't have to care very much and gets more control over the center areas of the board. That's how you strategically deal with it. It's usually not like I'm going to cover the peep, but usually you just say, actually that wasn't that important and what I did was more important. This white move is trying to take care of that white stone. I'm not sure. He has an idea that like these 2 stones are the most important on the board, and he really wants to keep pressure there more than anywhere else. So black made sure to run with them. An immediate extend. He thought if he plays the jump there, which was also possible, this move would be a nice shape point for black. Now you really want to cut, but it becomes awkward. You don't want to cut now. There would be potential net. I don't know. This is definitely dangerous for white. It's likely going to fail. So black jumps. White will turn. You know Jeremy is just looking at capturing these. Capture all this area. As long as this doesn't die, you're going to be okay. There's some danger. Significant danger. There's even a wedge at A, which if black becomes just the smidgest bit stronger for, that's going to work. There's also danger that the 3 stones on the right are going to live. In fact, that's very likely. black should be able to run in general some way, use the cut, and run out. Since white never spent a move on the right side, there should be some large amounts of forcing moves. So he puts pressure with a diagonal move, asking Jeremy to extend in. You really want to try to attack me? Then you should be able to extend in, right? If he does, then there will be cut. That's quite dangerous. Here, white is going to have to answer eventually, and black can put pressure back on the white stones on the top side. You think black is making a mistake adding moves to the right? The center stones are more important. But if black tries to play here, I think white was saying they were going to go on this side. I'm sure you're happy to capture all of this. But actually the game, if it becomes a battle between whether white has enough or black, when black captures that, probably would be okay for black. Probably. But it's a little tough. And black definitely has a lot of Aji on the right side. So black wants to use that first before it gets covered, before it gets surrounded. Also, because when white continues to run, there's going to be so many problems with that wedge. It makes sense to me that we're just going to hold that over white. Say, hey, you really are going to have a hard time running all the time. If white plays here, black might choose not to cut right away. I think it's totally possible to do it. Maybe we would see it like this, actually. White eventually covers. It makes more sense. Let's make sure that that cut is safe, right? Safe enough, at least. Now black later has a potential for life for eyes to start forming, but there aren't going to be that many eyes. When white plays here, we're really just hoping for one. So black plays this Hane. And of course he can make some space in the center as he runs through the center. He really doesn't want to let white run through here, sort of more critical area. So it's possible we're going to see Hane in something aggressive now. I'm thinking Hane cut. So yeah, if white Hanes, we can see cut. And then when white plays here, we can see another cut coming, I think. This kind of variation is quite possible. It would be very interesting. In fact, like 4 could be a Hane as well. Jeremy's going for it. I think Kim Dohyup will go for it too. Yes, here's the cut. White immediately exchanged the Atari to give black an empty triangle, and now peeps. So black will connect that. That peep made it so that this wedge works directly. There's still a lot of room and Aji back here for black to save. Oh, white used another peep, aiming at a cut here that may not matter because this black or that white group might be dead. If I were black right now, I would be extremely tempted to run out over here. So what if you cut me on that side? That's not a big deal. As long as I run out here, I've already made this have a lot more aji, I feel. For example, white cannot hane and cut because there will be a net. And also, it's likely that when black runs that way, there will be a lot of counter pressure here. Black does have wedge already as well. Oh wow, he didn't take it. He hasn't gone for any aggressive options. He's just sort of defended. That's quite an early defense. Quite passive option. Seems like it gives white a good chance to cover over here. Now black is going to have to figure out how to use the aji very, very, very quickly. Bamboo, a quite surprising move. Very surprising move. Black is definitely looking at the hane there. He wants to see white cut so that he can atari and descend. Then, in theory, this white is not alive, and his black group is quite secure because it has a potential forcing move here. So if white allows that to come, even if you atari, like there's going to be an atari coming, right? So you're going to have to answer somehow. And then that gives you quite a lot of space. This group is not easy to kill at all, with a potential potential movement, and potential counterattack. What? So we see hane cut there, and then without exchanging, he just blocked, thinking that he has this as his sente all the time. So that made this one better. Since it's basically not a false eye. Looks like now it should be atari and push again. Because still this is black sente. So it looks like we would be able to live if we do that. This push also looking to make life using the white weaknesses there. And he goes for the cut. Or the peep. So he's looking at the white cut here. White needs to answer to that. Now when white plays at A, black can push, and white saves that, black can push. And when white runs that out, black can use this sente move and run out. White will need to save it all the way. And at the end, it looks like black might have some kind of cut to try to counterattack. So here we have the beginnings of that Sumego. I believe that this cut by white might have been a mistake. Not sure about that, guys, but he played it very fast, and I'm not not at all convinced that that was a good move. Self-shorting Liberty. Excuse me. So now you can see white cannot cut here, because when black answers, white has to answer to this threat, and black would be able to capture this. If white wouldn't, and captures these stones, then there's atari and capture in the center. So the sort of normal expectation is hane here. Yeah, that's what's played. Couple ways to play against that. Just solid connect is a very strange one. When you have the other connect as your sente, why would you just connect here? It doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe he thinks he's so easily alive, he doesn't even care about the bad life and death, and he wants to make the cuts over here. But that was a very, very weird move. A for B looks like a really bad exchange. Then he runs. To prevent white, connect under on the right. So you're reading into his mind, and you've realized he was thinking white was going to save this group underneath rather than outside. How strange. Okay. Interesting. Amusingly, AI loves the position for black. It's not amusing. Maybe I should have shared with you guys, but yes, black is alive here. He's just sort of screwing around, but he is alive, and this is dead mostly. Like, if white tries to save that, it's going to get in big trouble, especially this part as well. But this being alive already breaks all the white territory. White only has this territory, still has to fight for that. Black has all sorts of territory all around the board, especially this is paying off here. And since this is alive and that's nice, black is basically attacking everywhere. It's great for black, of course. So black had another move and decided to finally finish off and clearly make the 2 eyes to appease the audience. Now it's going to be very obvious. White is very sad, probably, but you shouldn't play moves like cut. This one, honestly, he got away with something. The way he treated the fighting when it became critical at that moment was so crude. It's one thing to be crude at the beginning of the game, like black was with N3. It's another thing to be crude at the middle of the game when it really matters for both sides. You can't just be crude at that kind of moment. You deserve to lose if you're crude. Black alive in Sente, you say? That's because now if black tanukis and white plays here and here and here, then you can capture and you can see that black makes an eye underneath over there. So this is always his right. He can always use that as his sente, and white can't break the other eye anyway. The wedge. At last, black takes his cash bonus over here. It's honestly very uninspiring that he did it now. He really should have done at least something like A, B first, right? You think we will see Jeremy resign soon? I don't think it'll be soon. That's a take probably because you've seen the AI estimate. Usually they don't like resigning very soon. You think that it would be bigger to play in the lower right than to cut? I'm not sure about that. This area, you're talking about the potential life and death of white, but white always had this as his right, so he's pretty alive. It's not like... No, it is 100% literally alive. Right? Yes. Yes. So this was always totally alive. So if you just ran to the right side, it was only for the points. And then if black allows white to connect here, not only is it a big chunk of points, but also it's counterplay against that black. So I like the cut. Although I think he should have done it more aggressively, like a more aggressive method there. You can see this one is aiming now at that throw-in stuff. And white comes back to take this territory. Black just push. Make it simple. Make it easy. descend there. Agreed. Agreed. This was waiting for white this whole time. It's not like this was all his area. Dessert. This was the last thing that was going to happen in this game, basically, no matter what, in the middle game. And it's not a pleasant fight for white at all. White can win. If white does win, he gets the area that he kind of already hoped to get. And if he, if he then gets to see ABC, he still has to fight for it again. And if he loses, he can die with this whole thing. So it was never clean. It was never easy. What was happening here? Black just looks for the connection under right away. That's definitely too passive. He can do better. So white should win the ko. But it doesn't do anything, unfortunately. Even though you win the ko here, you're still not going to get the territory underneath since black chose for it. You're not going to win. This is definitely a lazy way to treat it, to play a A10. That wasn't a very threatening thing for white compared to playing some real Tetsuji. White needs to do turn off sound, sleight of hand Tetsuji. I don't know what you're talking about. Turn off sound, sleight of hand? Just put a quick killing move on the board. Don't let them notice. On the clock, I see. Turn off sound on the clock to make Jeremy have some pressure on Kim Do-Yup. They're both down to 1 minute or less. Jeremy on 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, gets to move off. Push just in time. Yeah, unfortunate. So this game was decided in this fighting around here. It was a nice method that Kim Do-Yup used to Hane cut. That was fantastic because the pressure on those stones was not so easy to handle. Then finally, when white managed to link them back, he did so in a way which gave black enough resources to save this group really well. And eventually that group was literally alive in Sentai while white sacrificed the left side. So black both lived, and the way that he lived killed this part area too. Certainly this peep exchange, AB, was uninspired. That was not a great choice. And the peep after that was also uninspired. The game was very difficult at that moment. There were so many things happening. It was hard to read everything that you were doing. But it was a little too straightforward. I think Jeremy absolutely can do better. He has more skill than he showed here. But it's just a rough game. Sometimes these games happen. Already from the beginning, black had some advantage. Jeremy was struggling at the very beginning to try to set up some fight somewhere to get a game back, but couldn't find hardly anything. Managed eventually to make something happen with the bottom left invasion. But it just turned out that the way that ran out and the way that it happened on the right side, he couldn't take the brief initiative that he gathered and convert it into a winning game. Tough from the get-go here for white. Yeah, we'll have to see what this lines up for the final game to be. Perhaps it'll be Guan Yu, perhaps it'll be Calvin Sun. But Kim Do-Yup now goes to 5-0 on the tournament. So if he wins the last round, he should win the tournament. Credit to him. This is a nice game. White looking to capture a bit more in the center here, if possible. So idea is if white block, we do that and cut. And then we cut this off too. Now white dies a bit more. So white wants to run this way, but can still have some trouble doing so. There's another regroup here, so you can imagine something like push, 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 capture. Looks like trouble. White's going to go for a sacrifice. Ends up being like this. We may see a Jeremy resign off of that. Oh my goodness, he actually played with 1 second left. 16 on his clock after his move. And I think that's a resignation by Jeremy Chiu. So Kim Dohyup wins the game, moves on to 5-0. He may very well have the board won in round 6. Good game. Good game. Jeremy resigns. I'll be back for round 6, guys. I'll bring it to just the game so you can see the review. Round 6 should be in about half an hour. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.